G'day YouTube, warbles on a lot here. 31.3 degrees, 36% humidity. Perhaps, versus 31.1 degrees, 33% humidity. The weather stations do not quite agree, but they're close. Out here, under where the tree used to be, still slightly shaded by what's left of the edge of the forest. In a ventilated, insulated, shaded hutch, the maximum minimum thermometer tells us that it's 33 degrees. Temperature of the air flowing underneath where there used to be trees. Probably got a 10-kilometre horizon due to the smoke from some fire somewhere. Take your pick. Here a fire, there a fire, everywhere a fire, somewhere. Happily, here, yesterday afternoon and last night, 3 millimetres showed up. So that was nice while I was away. Waste not, want not. Which seems a counterintuitive expression unless you replace the missing line. Waste not if you would want not. We can't afford to waste the rain because we're not getting enough of it. Which gives me a lovely segue onto the topic of the video. Let's compare the numbers of the 2019 drought with the 2018 drought with the 2007 drought. 2007 because that's how far back I've got numbers for both maximum temperatures, minimum temperatures and rainfall. So I can speak with authority of what happened here going back to then. And I happen to have already graphed it, and I've saved the pieces of paper from several different videos. So now all we have to do is update the temperature records of 2007, 2018, overlaid with 2019. While the wig-wagging, all-moving tower of power supplies the current to the pyramid of electricities, 12.5 volts versus 12.7 on the array, 5.6 amps going in, 20.9 amp hours today. We're sucking at 6.8 amps, which works out at 65.5 watts of electricity, 4 watts of which is operating the electric motor that runs the roller which moves this felted fishing line conveyor belt style of a thing up over the top roller where it's being driven, down the bottom roller where it dips into a water tank. So the air going in to feed the squirrel cage fan is drawn in through the wet felted fishing line conveyor belt. And would you believe this miracle of evaporative cooling allows me to sit here in a 25 degree, 24.7 degree airflow, whereas the ceiling is 32.9 degrees. So, Indian and Chinese solar panels, second-hand batteries from a golf cart, inverter I bought in 1985, and it's running the brand new Chinese evaporative cooler that cost $89 in the reject shop, brand new in the box, with a warranty. Enables me to be tolerably comfortable despite the heat wave, and I'm not using coal-fired grid-powered electricity. I could if I wanted to, because this thing has a compartment designed to be filled with ice cubes. so that the cold air can be sucked over the ice cubes onto the conveyor belt along with the drips in what is otherwise the filling compartment. And I do possess an esky which is insulated thermally, so I could buy the ice in town and bring it out here and drop the ice cubes in there when I want to. And when they've all melted, I could just add the cold water to the water tank of the cooler. But that would be cheating because the ice cubes have been made in a commercial ice making machine in town and it runs on coal burning grid fired power. So this is at least coherent. It's a solar powered evaporative cooler in a lawn locker. And because you can't put it in a closed room, therefore the door is open and it's sucking in air at 33, 34 degrees, cooling it down, blowing it onto me, and then the cold air is displacing heated air at the roof level just by mechanical barometric pressure manipulation. Pretty cunning. Anyway, off the segue and back to the topic of the video. As I said, I have figures going back to 2002, 2007, here we go, 2018, 2019, and those are rainfall figures. I like to make sense of those by graphing them such that in blue we have the absolute lowest figure recorded for that month, January, February, March, April, May. We also have the absolute highest figure recorded for that month with the recorded range in between. In green, we have the absolute average for that month. And so we see that it's normal for us to have a bit of a drought in autumn going into winter, some precipitation in winter, then back into the drought, and then we come out of it in spring. That's what's normal here. 2018, if we backtrack that to December 2017 and November 2017, during November we voted to return Barnaby Joyce to be Australia's Minister for Agriculture, Energy, Resources and Water, Deputy Prime Minister and Leader of the National Party. Here in my electorate we voted to do that. And we went from December's rain, which was probably already in the pipeline at the end of November when we did the voting for him. That's what we got: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And we were well below the average for the whole year. Let's look at a different piece of paper. We went, for the year's cumulative total, we went from 830 millimetres as the average rain for a year. We went down to 545 millimetres, 45.6, which is only 65.8% of a year's rain. Golly gosh. We'll come back to that later. In the purple highlight marker we have 2019. So January 2019, 2018 was the same. February, vastly worse. March, a lot better. So that was kind of like a swapping of the roles, but the average of the trend, it had the same effect by April. May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Markedly, horribly, measurably worse. Down to 357 millimetres or 43% of an average year's rain. That's what has happened here on the 100 acres for which I am responsible. I bought responsibility for everything alive inside my boundaries. And I've missed out on 90% of a year's rain over a 2-year period. So, if we look just at December's from the 2 years that I've already got written down on this page and figured out, if we compare December 2007 during the millennial drought, when everybody said their throat was cut, We got 756 millimetres out of 830. So we missed out on 8.9%. And everybody, as I said, they thought their throat was cut. That was the millennial drought, which continued another 2 years. 2008 didn't finish till 2009. In December 2007, difficult to find a good, minimum temperature was 10 degrees, that happened once. Maximum temperature was 28 degrees, that happened once. Average minimum was 13.2 degrees Celsius. Average maximum was 22.7 degrees. The highest minimum was 17 degrees, and that happened once. Now we come across and we look at 2018. We got 545 millimetres out of 830 millimetres. So we were 34.3% below average, which makes it 385% drier than 2007, when we only missed out on 8.9%, because 8.9 goes into 34.3, 3.85 times. But in December, 89.85 versus 83.25, so December 2018 was actually slightly better than December 2007, although it came at the end of a much more miserable year for rainfall. Right, so we get down to the specifics. Minimum temperature of 10 degrees, that happened once. Maximum temperature of 33 degrees, that happened once. Versus 28 degrees happening once. So up 5 degrees or 17.8%. And there were 15 days over 28 degrees Celsius, which in 2007 had been the hottest one single day of the month. 15 days above 28. Average minimum 14.2 versus 13.2, up 1 degree Celsius, which is 7.5%. Average maximum 27.7, up from 22.7. That's 5 degrees higher, which is 22% hotter. Highest minimum 18 degrees once, up 1 degree, which is up 5.8%. All told, the whole month was 3 degrees Celsius hotter. Month for month, drought for drought, a mere 11 years apart. 14.75% hotter, and the whole year was 385% drier. That's the difference between Barnaby Joyce's National Party drought and Tony Windsor's independent drought. Now, let's look at those temperatures graphed. In the blue, we have 2007. In the red, we have 2018. Now, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in 2018 where the minimum temperature was lower than it was on that day in 2007. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 days where the highest temperature for that day was above what it was 11 years earlier. 3 degrees of warming in Barnaby Joyce's electorate over a mere 11 years. So now, how bad was 2019? That means we have to change the pen colour. We have to go to the calendar. And you might see these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 days, 30 degrees or above. Well, what I've now got to go through and do is graph the morning minimum temperatures and the maximum temperatures and put them all on the same piece of paper, and we'll find out. how hot or not was 2019 compared to 2018 compared to 2007. So, I'll put you guys on pause while I sit in the downstream of the ring grip, sipping my cappuccino, translating numbers into graphs. And because red and blue are already taken, and I'm not going to outline 2019 in green, because so many people have died, because Australia has voted to die, we're going to graph 2019 in black. One of the first things I noted is there's not 18 days over 30, or 30 or above, 19, 20, 21. And there were 12 days which were 33 or above. Last year there was only one day of 33. It was the highest it got. And yeah, there's no real way to put a good spin on what it looks like as a graph, is there? Well, there's 2 days where it was colder in 2019 than it was in 2007 or 2018. 2 days it was colder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 22 days where the maximum was higher in 2019 than it was in 2018. Oh, I wonder what it's going to be when I work out the average figures. Okay, tuberosities, so there we go, and now we know, and yeah, it's bad. It's bad. 2007, the monthly average temperature, like the temperature average for the whole month was 17.95 degrees. Spool that forward 11 years. The temperature for the month of December in 2018 was 20.95 degrees Celsius, which is up 2 degrees on 17.95. That's up 11% in 11 years. It's gone up 1% per year. It probably didn't go up smoothly, but you know, there you go. Here's what's happened December last year to December this year. Minimum temperature was 7 degrees versus 10 degrees. You know, we had one day where it was 3 degrees colder, and there was another one where it was 9 degrees or something instead of 7. The maximum temperature, 38.5 degrees. One day of it, but it's up 5.5 degrees Celsius, or 16.6%. The average minimum, 15.4 degrees, up 1.28 degrees Celsius, or 0.9%. Yeah, almost 1%. Average maximum, 30.38 degrees. Average maximum up 2.68 degrees Celsius, or 0.97%. The highest minimum, 21 degrees, up 3 degrees Celsius, or up 16%. Here's the kicker, the monthly average temperature. The average temperature for the whole month of December 2019 was 22.89 degrees Celsius versus 20.95 versus 17.95. Right, so it's up 1.94 degrees Celsius, or 9.2% hotter in 1 year. Tipping point, oh tipping point. Tipping point, it's been and it's gone. Tipping point, oh tipping point. Tipping point, we're really fucked now. Unprecedented? Yes, indeedy do. Unforeseeable? Absolutely not, no way, no how. You can't possibly pretend that any of this was unforeseeable. Because greenies like me who are prepared to listen to and accept and believe the science, we've been losing elections for 40 bloody years. We have been consistently outvoted by the people who chose to decide to vote for cheaper electricity. They chose to decide to vote to keep extracting and exporting and combusting fossil carbon in order to grow the economy. They chose to pursue maximum short-term profits. They chose to ignore the science. They voted Liberal, they voted National, they voted Labor, they voted One Nation, they voted Clive Palmer, they voted the Hunters, Shooters, Fishers and Feral Pig Rooters Party. They did not vote Green. Be very interesting if Barnaby Joyce was to go down there from Sydney to Melbourne, maybe across to Adelaide, a couple of 100 miles in from the coast, and take a poll among all the people who are being affected by the bushfires and see how many of them voted to pay more carbon tax because they did not want to get cooked in a bushfire. He's not going to do that, is he? Scott Morrison, when he goes off to grab hold of a people's hands and force them to shake his hand because he wants to be congratulated for the marvellous job that he's doing, being on God's side. Australia voted to die. We have voted to die, and you get the weather that you voted for. And my neighbours, 53% of them voted number one for Barnaby Joyce. And that is why, compared to the Tony Windsor drought, the Barnaby Joyce drought is Australia's terminal drought. The Barnaby Joyce drought is the drought that kills the Australian economy. The Barnaby Joyce drought is the one that brings on 2020, January 26, Unvasion Day, capital U Invasion Day, the day Australia unvades itself of we, the European colonists, because Australia has voted to die. My next guess is that they are going to tell everybody to get the hell out. They'll pack the roads with people who have now run out of fuel, and then they're all going to get cooked in one big long convoy on the highway. Because that's what happens. When the heat wave comes and the dust storm rises, you lose your air assets. And they've just told everybody who was running out of petrol and running out of diesel to make a last mad, desperate dash home rather than telling them to take cover and shelter in place. What else can one say? Tipping point, oh tipping point, it's come and it's gone. Tipping point, oh tipping point, Australia is unvading itself. Because I was outvoted and my neighbours have voted to die. It's enough to give diarrhea the shits. So it is, without a word of a lie. Australia has voted to die. You know why they put wing mirrors on a horse-drawn single furrow moldboard plough? So that you can look and see who the idiot is trying to farm Australia using European broadacre agro-cultist methods. Warbles not a lot to YouTube. Happy New Year. Nobody knows by Invasion Day how many of us will still be here. Hey, Rosella, what do you think? What do you reckon, Crimson Rosella? I'll stay here as long as you stay here. Somebody has to change the water in the water dishes and throw out the broken biscuits, and somebody has to come along and eat them. Isn't that right? Hey? What do you reckon? Yeah? Bargain? Sounds like a good deal to me. Anyway, that's the situation report. All secure, situation going to shit. Quick. To hell in a handbasket. Getting worse every bloody year. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.